Good evening, my dear friends. This is our 45th day for the meditations. And after today, it's going to be having another 4 days. So it will be 49 days for the meditation. And I myself will put a pause, kind of rethink about the format and then also the content. And if I can persuade the monk, Venerable Hui Sheng, to continue to do the meditation, maybe next week, you can still see him leading the meditation. Otherwise, we will take a few days break, and definitely I will come back as kind of the new content, for the either maybe the lecture on the Heart Sutra. Okay. So we have been doing this we call C&C meditation, calming and contemplation. So what will be good for meditation? The first, when you have a normal life and also healthy, that is the good time for you to learn about meditation, because that is a right condition for you to sit down and experience the concentration, the peaceful inner world. Some people, already have that kind of anxiety. Some could be very serious and need some medication, not just meditation. And also, when you are under a lot of like a time pressure, like you are facing final, it would be really hard for you to do the meditation. I remember when I was in the school, and one of my friends, during the ordinary time, he never say, okay, Eva, teach me meditation. But when it was final, so there was a lot of anxiety. And so he said, okay, Eva, teach me meditation. So I started to teach him meditation. But, after he closed his eyes, and then suddenly he jumped out and said, no, I cannot sit here because I have to study. I have my final. Okay. So when you have a time pressure, probably that is not good for you to start a meditation. So the meditation is, you already, when you are in a very good condition, mental condition, healthy condition, and then you kind of learn about the technique and the skills, and become your, like a daily life, the habit. Just like someone doing the jogging or walking. It's a good habit to, pick up the meditation. And so when you are kind of in anxiety and very anxious, worried, and then you just apply the skill to do the meditation. That's better, okay? And as I mentioned, the meditation, if you really have a right method and you put the efforts there, and there are the experience, it's really amazing. You find there was a lot of we call extraordinary experience, like the way you can sense about the function of your body, and suddenly your inner world is kind of extend and very peaceful, very keen, kind of unshakable as well, and lots of joy. So you have to do that practice and then experience by yourself. Okay, and today we're going to, again, from the beginning, all of body's posture, but today I probably going to review with you a little bit about vipassana, and then you can spend about 10 to 15 minutes without instruction and practice by yourself. Okay, so again, pick up a cushion on a hard floor, but never sit on the cold floor. Okay, you need to have a cushion on the ground, so your feet will not touch the cold floor. Say, well, it's a summer, but after for a while, it's no good for your body. Okay. Then sit on the cushion. Remember, this is your temple. Okay. And then the first one has a good determination that I'm going to have a good section on meditation. Determination. Okay. And now, what will... Yes, body, breath, and mind. Body, breath, and mind. 身, 习, 心. Okay, for the body, 7 steps. Feet, back, hand, shoulder, chin, tongue, eyes. So now, the legs, the feet, legs closed. Full lotus, half lotus, both okay, or not a lotus position will be okay. Just close your legs, and then the back upright. No hunchback and no stiff back either. Okay, upright but relaxed, and the hands, both thumbs slightly touched. And then circulate your body clockwise, counterclockwise, and sometimes you even can shake a little bit on your body to loosen your muscle and joints, and also make sure that you sit stably. And now, open up your shoulders. The shoulders, you can also exercise, loosen up a little bit, shrug back and forth. Okay. And chin, not up, not down, but pull it in. And now, visualize you exhaled, and of course also do it at the same time. Okay, exhale the impure air that congests inside your body. Excuse me. And then, exhale 3 times and close your mouth and to reserve the clean air. Okay. Then visualize all the impurity air you blow out. Okay. Now close your mouth and the tip of your tongue slightly touched behind the upper teeth. Sorry. And then eyes closed. Okay, so your legs, back, hands, shoulders, chin, tongue, eyes. Your nose supposed to be on the same line with your navel. Your ear, the same line with your shoulders. And remember, upright but relaxed. So if at this time your body has some tense, that's no good. You cannot sit for too long if your body muscle really tense. So relax but still upright. Okay, now you have a perfect body posture. Now, breathing. So the anapana, breathing in, breathing out, counting or following, that is the first part when we're doing the anapana for the calming. And then we're going to do the second part, will be the vipassana, so-called for contemplation. Okay? But I still like to bring you to do a little bit on the anapana. Okay? Breathing in, breathing out. Only counting when you are breathe out. Only counting from 1 to 10. Now your mind is supposed to be on your nostril. That is your meditation hole. If you can fully concentrate it, now you can give up counting, but just following the breathing in, breathing out. Aware of the air come in through your nostril, and the air goes out the nostril. And aware of the air full of your body. If you just keep observing the breathing, that will leading you to samatha, concentration. Let's move to today, our main practice reviewed on the vipassana. That means put your attention to the sensation on your body. The first, you can start to put your focus, your attention on the top of your head, and then part by part, region by region, and move down from top and to the bottom, even to the toe of your foot, and from right to left. Scan the sensations on your body. And then find out the strongest sensation in your body. For example, the numbness on your feet, or the pain on your neck, or on your waist, or on your hip, or on your knees. Where is the strongest sensation? And let me tell you that if you want to sit longer, okay? So in your body, there is discomfort, pain. Do not run away, but encounter. Like prepare your mentality, like prepare. You are a fighter, a warrior. Encounter the pain, then you can overcome the pain. Otherwise, you can never sit for too long. And when you find out the strongest pain, discomfort in your body, and just go there to figure out where exactly the pinpointed area the pain located, and what is the element of a pain, discomfort. Just go there to do analysis. We call emptiness analysis. Okay, now I will not say anything, and please practice your vipassana. Find out the strongest sensation on your body and go to do, where is it, what is it, the emptiness analysis. Let's start it with our METTA meditation. METTA means loving kindness. We started to spread our loving kindness thought and prayer to ourselves and to people we know and people we do not know, and extend it to all the sentient beings in this universe. May I be free from suffering, the infection of coronavirus and other disease, and be well and healthy. May my spouse, partner, and children be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May my parents, brothers, sisters be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May my teachers and my students be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May my bosses, employees, and colleagues be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all my friends and neighbors be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all the people in this country be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all the people in this world be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all the sentient beings in this universe free from greed, hatred, and ignorance, and be well and happy. May all the doctors, nurses, caretakers, medical personnel be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy physically and mentally. We thank for their risk their life and to save others. May all the political leaders free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from greed, hatred, and ignorance, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. We pray that they have enough wisdom and a sense of humanity to adopt proper measures to save more lives create a harmonious society and peaceful world. May all the people who got affected by coronavirus and other diseases will receive speedy recovery and free from suffering and be well and healthy. May all the people who die of coronavirus and other diseases will rest in peace and be reborn in a better, happier, and healthier realm. Now it's the time to send particular prayer to the individual who you care. I pray for my student, Kim Demaski. She is a trained nurse and she just volunteered to go to a senior house to take care those people got affected by the coronavirus. So I pray for her safety and healthy. And we also like to transfer the merits from our meditation and teaching to the anonymous heroes who are fighting for this battle during this pandemic crisis. And I know that it's going to be over soon. And everyone stay safe and healthy. Now wrapping your hands, cover your eyes, forehead, and then your ear, and neck, and shoulder, and arms, back, your thigh, knees, and legs, and feet. You can tell I still wear a lot because here is still very cold. Yesterday at night is the 2 degrees Celsius. So when we do the meditation, that remember indeed that you're still very busy, even though your eye closed, because for all the skills, the techniques we told you, like during the breathing anapana, and also during the visualization or the observing or analysis your sensation, if you feel very tense, then you can go back to do just breathing. So you can do it exchangeably, among these techniques, as long as you feel kind of in a better and better situation. That means that you are much calmed down. The secondly, as I mentioned about discomfort and pains in your body, some people maybe have a knees problem or become numb. And many of our students will ask, how can I sit still? Okay, when you start to sit, you feel, oh, this hurt, that hurt. Okay, don't change your posture. But, for example, your legs got hurt, and or even numbness. Okay, and what you should do, you just go to the place, the hurt, the pain, you encounter them. At this time, you need to be more like you are a warrior, okay? And you say, okay, you come to find me the trouble, and I'm going to fight with you. I'm not going to let you bother me. Only this way, when you facing the discomforter, the pain inside your body, that is the only way you can overcome it, and then you can sit still for longer. Okay, so that is the tip for how can we do the meditation, sitting longer. Okay, now we're probably going to have 20 minutes to continue to answer about, there has been 2 days I try to explain the Buddhist view on the death and afterlife. And yesterday we mentioned about suicide. And today, remember yesterday I mentioned that suicide is not the way of ending suffering. Why? Okay, now, as we mentioned that, we have a heavenly being, we have a human being, animal, and hungry ghost, and hell. Kind of several stages, we call, okay? And what decided me to be a heavenly being or human or animal or even go to hell? And it depends on what we call karma, K-A-R-M-A, karma, okay? Karma literally means action. And so the action is not just a physical action, but also you think it's a mental karma. You speak is verbal karma. The body you doing something, that is a physical karma, So we only thinking about if I kill people, I hit people, I helping out people, that kind of have a result. Indeed, even thinking has a very strong result. For example, when we were young, if we kind of vowed, say, okay, I want to be a lawyer, and there was a thought arising in your mind, say, okay, I want to be a lawyer, or I want to be a soldier, or I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor. So even though that thought in our mind also has a very strong force, so we call atomic force. That is the force kind of taking you to where you will be reborn. And once if we died, where from this life to next life, as we mentioned in the 2 talks, that when we die, it didn't mean it ends of life, okay? It's only ends of a physical body, but it's not really end of the life. Our consciousness is continue going. Because if you're thinking about, okay, when I die, everything is just gone. That's what we call nihilism, nihilist, and don't believe that something will continue, okay? But if you also think about, like, life cannot be changed. There was a destination, like, never changed. That is also wrong, as we call, fatalism. That means, always, no. But Buddhism is in the middle, that things still continue, but you also can change. Okay, so it's kind of the one end's open. And so there were three factors will be determined where we're going to be for the next life. The first one we basically call is the heavy karma, the major. The secondly means habitual karma. And the third one is the last thought. Yeah. So that yesterday we emphasized that the suicide is not a good ending at all, because the last thought is not very healthy. Okay? So now let's talk about what is the major karma. That means in this life, and if you are a good person, you create a lot of good deeds, mostly to help out the people. Always thinking about others. You respect your parent, you love your parent, you help out your parent. In the school, you help out the classmates, friends, and respect the teacher. Basically, it's not, you do not harm other people. You do not create suffering to other people. I know that if we say about, you have to filial piety to your parents, and then respect your teacher, sounds very cliche, or kind of old style. No, that is not true. I think that we need to be, we need not to bring the harm to other people. This is the main principle. And think about it that, how do you want the people to treat you? That basically is the way that you should treat other people, isn't it? We just kind of, put your shoes on someone's, put yourself on someone's shoes, kind of thinking about from their perspective. So no harming in either way. Like, of course, definitely no physical killing, because if you have a physical killing, injure other people, not to mention about karma, the first thing, you already violate the law, in this society. No matter you are a Buddhist, non-Buddhist, Christian, and then atheist, if you hurt other people, okay, the law in our society, you have to face that, the punishment or immediate result. So the heavy karma or the major karma is kind of in your life, you accumulate. And according to the sutra, basically, if you are, a good people have done a lot of things to serve people, like an altruist, to help out people. It's almost like your karma. When you die, the karma will be immediately help you, bring you up to the heaven or become a human. Of course, if someone working very hard and have that wisdom and toward enlightenment, you can attain the enlightenment. Okay, and of course that also there was in Buddhism there was called Pure Land. That means people chanting the name of the Amitabha Buddha, and then will be reborn in a Pure Land. We probably going to talk about in the future, but only thing I want to tell you that to be reborn in a Pure Land, it's not attain the enlightenment. It's just like you be reborn in a better place for further education. Can't just be reborn in a nicer, much better realm. And of course, it's you will not come back for reincarnation. Okay, but anyway, so so if someone have done a good deeds, good karma, helping other people, do the great contribution for the humans, and very compassionate, very spiritual, and good person, and then because of his karma or her karma, then immediately will be reborn in a heavenly being or as a human. Remember, we are still in the cycle of birth and death. How about if people who have done all the evil things, killing people, stealing, and always try to harm other people, and those people then has create a lot of what we call bad karma, And if really, really evil, in Buddhism, if you kill your parents, kill your father, mother, or even, of course, talk about like you kill the Buddha, Arahat, or even, injure the Buddha, and that would consider very crime. Okay. Of course, especially kill parents, consider it's very bad. And with the bad karma, that kind of immediately go to hell, So it's just like with karma up or with a bad heavy karma down. And most people, we kind of in the middle. And of course, it also depends on, a lot of action you create in your life. And okay, good. Now back. There was a little bit, disconnection. So now we are talking about habitual karma. So this habitual karma also will be leading you to where you should be born. Remember, yesterday or the day before, we talked about that people said, if you kill cow, when you become a cow, or a pig, you may not be, however, okay, because every day if you, we call perfume, 熏习, you have seen all the killing all the time. You're doing also the image in front of you all the time. And thinking about how many seed, S-E-E-D, like a karmic seed of your experience plant into your consciousness and create this karmic force. So that means the environment, always you learn it from, you input your concept, you input the seed, it's possible to bring you to be reborn in that realm. So then if you ask, say, well, then if someone also, like a butcher, the pig, where they become a pig in next life, that's possible, because the concept. Of course, I mean, I remember when I was in a school, and one of my friend, Lee, he told me, he said, oh, in my next life, I'd like to be reborn as well. Okay. And that's kind of in his mind, the image of well, in the ocean. So he wanted to be reborn as well. So the habitual karma, and the third one will be the last thought. So when someone died, besides the major karma, habitual karma, and also your last thought. So that is why very important that in Buddhism we have called a system chanting, recitation the name of Amitabha, because keep the dying people has been mindful about to be reborn in a pure land. I mean, as I mentioned, we will talk about pure land in the future. And so that is also why during this pandemic that, unfortunately many of the family members cannot visit the dying family member, dying people. Then we tell them that, ask them to always thinking about the contribution to the family and to the society, always thinking about the good things, like keep their last thought as positive as possible, good memory, good thought. Okay, so that is why, and that is also why that Buddhism will never encourage for the suicide either. So, and today I also mentioned that maybe tomorrow I will go into the detail about, many people knows that even 20 years ago, I believe, that there's a book called the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Sokya Rinpoche. And that was very popular book, and many people read it, through it. So, but this book, it's based on by a Tibetan master, Padmasambhava, who lived in the 4th century, and he wrote the book. Basically is called kind of a zhongyin, the kind of in between, living in between the people who die and before going to be reborn. And so they're living in between, and how can we help this dead soul to be, liberated, literally. Okay, so it's also called the Tibetan Books of Death. Okay, it's called 中阴度王经 in Chinese. And, of course, you can see that all this material, in these two works originally come from the book called, that was in the 8th century, Padmasambhava, 8th century. And all this book come from it's a very, very famous commentary called Yogacara Bhumi Sastra. Yogacara Bhumi. And this book, in this text, they was intel, like very detailed about how are we, when we are dying, what happened to our physical body, our mental, status, and after we die and where it goes. So this commentary was compiled, of course, during the different time, but at the end was accomplished by 4th century by Asanga. Okay, so tomorrow I will share with you some of the idea about how Buddhism talk about when we die, what happened to our physical body, and the dying people's mental state, and then where did they go for the rebirth. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow 8 o'clock and start it with the meditation, and then we will continue the 4th part on dying after death. Okay. Thank you. I see you tomorrow 8 o'clock.